The NBA trade deadline, a lot of big names floating around out there.
Who's going to be buyers? Who will be sellers? Those are the questions that arise this time of year.
The Raptors are certainly intriguing. It's just at what level do they want to go?
Thursday will be a fascinating day for the Toronto Raptors and the NBA in general.
We know Bobby Webster had a good hand in building what's here, but what does a Bobby Webster finishing touch? What does a Bobby Webster next move look like?
He's a pretty pragmatic person. He's going to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the roster. He's going to manage the money side of it.
He's the kind of guy that will put the team first no matter what.
Trayce may be one of 50 or 60 people that you're always keeping tabs on in the NBA, and so now he becomes available.
It's your new home, brother.
I feel like I'm going to fit in like a glove. I'm ready to get started here.
What I'm expecting and what I'm hoping are a little different. Obviously the big names that are out there are big names, and those are fun, and I'm sure the Raptors are doing due diligence and making calls on those. If one of the splashy things doesn't come about, I'm fairly confident they'll make a move to duck the luxury tax. They're just above it right now. Shedding a little bit of salary would not only get them under the tax, but open up a little room to sign a 15th man, whether for big man depth or to convert an Elijah Martin or an AJ Lawson. It's not the spiciest of moves to make a luxury tax move and free up the roster, but I think that's a pretty safe bet. Beyond that, I think they'll probably scour the market for, a backup big that has some upside to grow into the role.
From what I know of Bobby, I think he's going to try to do the right thing for the team. He's a pretty pragmatic person. So far, the season has gone really well, but they've also sort of had to compromise in certain parts, especially without playing, with a center. So if he can find a deal there and make all the money work, I'm sure he'll make it happen.
I think it's kind of year one of, I don't care what word you want to slap on it, whether it's the rebuild, the retool, the process of getting yourself back to being a consistent, regular playoff team, hopefully for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to come. I think this is the next era of Raptors basketball. So you might look at it on one hand and say, just take it easy, take the slow approach, and let's just build upon this each year.
The Raptors making a miniature splash at the trade deadline eve as we do get Chris Paul coming to Toronto.
The Raptors obviously will not require Chris Paul to report to the team.
They'll either waive him or they will trade him. Look, this was a financial move. They needed to get under the luxury tax. That's exactly what they did by moving Ochai Agbaji.
They got back Trayce Jackson-Davis while staying under the luxury tax.
Bobby got a steal from the big. You think about what Trayce Jackson-Davis was doing last year for the Golden State Warriors prior to the Jimmy Butler acquisition. He was playing a ton of minutes. That's what the Raptors did need, is a guy that you can get into the paint and throw it above the rim, and he's going to make something happen. That also opens up the floors for shooters on the backside. I really like this move.
You take it back to the summer when we put the team together, right? And so you probably even go back to the draft. You take Colin and Elijah in the draft. We signed Sandro this summer and Garrett. So you're sort of starting to paint the picture of what you think the team's going to look like. And, that's July, August, you see them through training camp. And then once the season starts, I always tell people it's, the first 20, 25 games is really a good evaluation of the team, right? How are they responding to the coaches? Are they settling into their roles? Do the players fit? I think especially this season, maybe more than others, having Brandon come in last year and not play, how is that fit going to look with Scotty? How is it going to look with RJ and Quick? And sort of the pieces around him. And then the bench, I think we'd seen makings of sort of the bench mob in Summer League and towards the end of last season. And so how is that going to fit into? And so you go through the ups and downs of the beginning of the season, probably December, January, you really start to think about, what does this team need and sort of what can we start to address at the trade deadline? And so many months of preparation for it. The NBA, like many things in life, works on timelines and deadlines. And so to know that, Thursday at 3 p.m., everyone's going to make their deals is helpful. It gives you some leverage, but it also just forces us to make decisions. And so, you come to this week and it's all hands on deck. It's full staff meetings, keeping Darko informed, the medical staff understanding what new players you might be bringing in. And so it's fun. It's a culmination of a lot of months of preparation, and then it's decision time and sort of what's available in the market and trades. And now we're done. The team is set, and looking forward to the last third of the season and hopefully a playoff run. It's been positive 2/3 of the year, right? We're sitting here, I think someone said 30 wins. We only had 30 wins all of last year. So, next step, you don't want to skip steps. You don't want to take shortcuts, but we can finish out this season strong, hopefully get a playoff run, get that experience. And then there's tough decisions. There's always going to be tough decisions. It's sort of how do you get to that next level, right? It's easy to sort of make the playoffs the first year, then now you're the one with the target on your back. And so developing, internal mental toughness, internally, the grit that we'll need to sort of persevere in the playoffs. But no, it's a great evaluation for us now to see, a lot of our young players in these moments. I think Scotty made the playoffs once, Brandon's been there, Jako's been there, but Quick and RJ too, I think early in their career. But by and large, there's not a huge playoff, experience, or there's not a ton of experience with this group. And so it'll be telling. Guys will rise to the occasion. Bright lights, people will probably, get nervous and falter as well, but it's all good for us. And then the summer comes, and that's another big decision point. So the draft in June and free agency in July, those are, the next big ones that now we're starting to prepare for. So the next 3 to 4 months will be in preparation for that.
Trade deadline day, and everybody takes a deep breath. So many names rumored.
I love watching this Raptors team. They play with joy. They have great chemistry. They play together every single night. And I want to see what they do down the stretch of the season.
Get back in the winning column, man. Intensity through the whole game, but especially in the fourth quarter. Win on three, 1, 2, 3.
When there's a lot of talk about bigger moves, more dramatic moves, bigger names, when you looked at the way the Raptors' salary structure is set up, it always looked to me it was going to be difficult, if very unlikely, for any of those kind of really glamorous, kind of sexy names, those kind of transactions to take place. So it looked like it was going to be what it ended up being. And sometimes in the NBA, you just got to take your tiny little win and keep it rolling.
There were some bigger deals, but I think at this point, for this group, we didn't want to chase. The group's coming together. There will be a time where we're going to push in and consolidate and add some picks, but we just felt the prices at this point were a bit high for us. We've had a lot of positives. Brandon's been great, Scotty's been great, the whole starting unit, RJ and Quickly, and we talked about what the bench mob could be. That group coming off the bench has been really impressive, and so for those of you around the team, I think there's a great energy and there's a great vibe, and so you don't want to mess with that as well.
Go, Rocky!
There's a lot of long-standing relationships. So, I've been in the business now, I guess maybe over 20 years. And so you have relationships with, other GMs or other people at teams. In the case of Trayce, I just spoke to him yesterday, and there's a big tournament in St. Catharines when he was like 17. And we had just gone down there because of the USA team, and it was maybe an under 18 team. And so he was on that, and that was the first time I watched him play. And so, you don't think much of it at the time, but, it catches your eye. I think Kobe White was on that team, Quentin Grimes, those are pretty good USA youth team. Then he goes to Indiana, you're following him.
That was my first time out of the country, so being able to come to Canada, that was a really cool experience. Win gold, it was a lot of fun.
And we liked him in the draft. We saw some private workouts for him. Trayce may be one of 50 or 60 people that you're always keeping tabs on in the NBA. And so over the years, we'd ask Golden State if they'd be interested in trading him. He had a pretty good rookie year, so I think he didn't. And fortunate time in Golden State's at a time where it looks like they did a little bit of a transition, made some significant trades. Now he becomes available.
It's your new home, brother.
So,
Nice to meet you. I'm Bobby.
Trayce.
Welcome to family, man.
Sir.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. How was the flight?
Easy.
Easy?
Easy.
Nice.
The backstory matters. I could have called on Trayce last year and it was a simple no. We were able to do a trade earlier in the week for Ochai, and that enabled us to go under the cap enough so that we could take back Trayce. So there's all these sort of mechanisms that go into place, and all those things have to line up, right? And that has to line up. It's a bit of luck. It's a bit of fortune to be able to get these deals done.
Let's get to work. Let's get to work.